Hi, I'm Stephen Smith. This is part 2 of the 4-part Roadster 2010 series. I'll be going over the interior of the new Roadster. We'll go over all the little differences and all the cool new features in the new model year Roadster, the 2010. So let's hop in and take a quick look. All right, so here I am sitting in my Roadster 2.0, getting ready to go for a drive. As you can see, there's a lot of cool improvements we made to the interior, and I'll go over most of those right now. First, I'll begin here in the center console. As you can see, the VDS screen, which used to be over here by my left knee, has now been relocated to the center console, which is really cool. It makes it a lot easier to see, a lot easier to go through all the functions. Directly below that is actually the hazard blinker button. So if you go and push it, it pops out and the hazards come on. And then directly below that, as you see, there used to be an actual stick shift to go to the different reverse, neutral, and drive. There's actually buttons. This P, which is lit up green, which means we're actually in park. If you go ahead and push the next button over, it's an R. You'll hear a little kind of a tone, and then the R will light green, which means I'm in reverse. There's actually right below that is a big N, which again is neutral, which is light green because I'm in neutral. And then directly below that is getting ready to go is drive. So now it's green, I'm in drive. So when you're shifting between the different gears, neutral, drive, or reverse, you actually have to have your foot on the brake to exit park or go from neutral to drive or reverse. So for example, I'm in park right now, it's lit up green. My foot is not on the brake, I'm not touching any pedal. If I go to try and put it in drive, the button will flash red, and then I'll get a warning on the VDS that says to press the brake before shifting. So I'll go ahead and push the brake down, push the D, and we actually went into drive. So pretty neat. Rather than actually clicking around, you just push a button and you're in whatever you push it. Directly below here is a big TC. If you push it once, it'll light red, and then you'll also get, we'll show you later on the actual cluster, there's a little, it's a slash, says TC, which is traction control. If it's red, that means your traction control is actually off. Also, if you see the little icon, that means it's off. It always defaults to on, which is what we usually recommend, because with it off, the traction control is disengaged. You can freewheel the rear wheels. You can actually spin, slide. Don't recommend it. It would make it hard to control. Directly below the traction control button, we actually have two little buttons. If you push, you get an LED. It's actually the seat heaters. You push it once, you get kind of a reddish-orange glow. That means it's on high. You push it one more time, it's actually green, means it's on low. So there's one for either seat. Actually, right here in this little slot, there's a small connector. It's for an iPod or for even your iPhone. You can actually set your phone right here. So some pretty cool stuff here. A little futuristic, a little bit easier to control. One of the improvements we made is on the 2008 Roadster. The actual controls for all the heating and air conditioning were on the center console. Now they've been moved right here below the JVC unit and just above the VDS. The first knob we have here actually controls the temperature. So on the left you can see it's blue for cold, and then it's red for hot. For heater, basically. To actually activate the heater, all you have to do is if you turn the knob, there's a little dimple that shows where you're pointing. If you turn it into the red side, and then you activate the fan, this little symbol will pop up, which lets you know that the heater is on. So, and then the more you turn it into the red side, of course, the hotter or the colder it'll get. To activate the air conditioning, you put this back in the blue side, and there's actually an LED, a button here, and the LED will come on blue. And then again, you turn the fan on to give you more or less cold air coming out. If you don't do anything, if you don't push the button and you leave it on the blue side and you just turn the fan on, that will just blow air through. It doesn't actually turn on either one of the units. So this knob here, the more you turn it, the higher the fan will go on. This little button here is for recirculate, so it'll cut off the vents to the outside, so it'll keep the cabin air flowing. Again, it comes on a little green LED to let you know that's on. And then the last knob here, it actually controls where the air will come out of the vents. So it's already all the way to the left, which means it'll come out of just these 4 normal vents straight at me. Straight up here is actually through the floor, and then all the way to the right is defroster. And you can put it anywhere in between. It'll kind of do a little bit of both. So we'll just leave it there for now. Right to the right of that knob, there's a little button. This is actually to open the glove box, which is also an improvement we made from the new model year. Again, you just push the button, it actually just pops right open. So there's actually one pretty cool feature of the glove box. When you get out of the car and you arm the alarm and lock it from the outside, it will actually disable this button so you can't pop open the glove box. So a little bit of a safety feature there. So all this cruising around in the hot California sun is making me parched. John, luckily there's a cup holder here. Flips right out. Hold it right there so now I can cruise around. I can be refreshed while I'm jamming around. So there's some features of the seats I'd like to go over next. The passenger seat's actually fixed in place, so you can't move it forward or back or recline it. Right below the front of it here is actually the handy-dandy, nifty handbook for your Roadster, which actually fits right into a specialized slot for that, so I'll slide that in. Right next to that slot's actually a small pump. It's very similar to those old Nike shoes where you get to pump them up so they fit better. Well, you get to pump this up and it actually inflates the lumbar so you fit better in your car. Right up there at the base of that little pump, there's a valve which releases the air, which will deflate the lumbar. That same pump is actually on the left side of me here. You can't see it, but it's exactly the same. You pump it up, and again, there's a little valve you push to release. This seat actually has a small bar in the front that you can pull up, and it actually will slide forward or back. It can't recline. Again, it's fixed like this one, but at least you have the adjustability. If you're a tall person like myself, you can make sure you have some leg room. Oh, hey guys, glad you could come over to this side so you could take a look at the steering column and everything. So, normal steering wheel. We have a horn on either side. There's these little, they look like horns. Then actually if you press them, there's a little button. There you go. Over on this side, there's a little, it's another button you can push, and it cycles through the different views you can see here. So right now it's on the trip meter. If I push and hold this button, it'll actually clear it, make it go to 0. If I push it again, it'll go to the odometer reading. And then if I push it, it'll go back to the trip. So it just bounces between those two. On the right side, you have all the controls for the single windshield wiper. If I pull it towards me, it'll actually spray the fluid, and I don't want to do that because we're inside. And if I move it up, there's different steps. It'll actually go quicker or faster. So if you're in some pretty heavy rain, you can adjust for that. On the left side here, it's a standard like a normal car. You have a left turn or right turn blinker, left turn blinker. If I pull it towards myself, it'll actually flash the high beams. And then I'll tell you where to turn the headlights on, but if these were on, I pushed it away from myself, it would actually turn the high beams on and leave them. Also on this control, you have the buttons to work the cruise control. So there's 3 different ways to do it. This one up here is actually a rocker, so you can push it towards yourself or away from yourself. So the way to turn on the cruise control, there's an I. So if you push it once, it's like initiate, so then it will lock your speed. If you want to increase your speed, you would again push and hold the I, so then you would speed up and then it would stay at that speed. If you wanted to reduce your speed, you would press the R and hold it and you would slow down and then it would lock you at that speed. If for any reason you had to push the brakes, speed up, avoid that cow on the road, things like that, and you wanted to go back to the speed, you'd push the R, which would be resume, and it would take you back to the speed you're at originally. Right below that is the O, which is simply just off, turns it completely off. So we made some interesting improvements to the actual gauge cluster. We still have the estimated range meter here, which shows you how much battery power you have, and then a mileage reading. On the left, it's a combination of RPM and mile per hour gauge. It redlines at about 14, does about 125 miles an hour, so we can go out racing if we wanted to on the streets, but we wouldn't do that, not legal. On the right, we have now, it's a power meter. So basically, when you're on the gas, it'll go to the right, and it's in kilowatts, and it's in, looks like 25 kilowatt increments. As I push the accelerator down, it would tell you how much power you were drawing from the pack. And then as I lift it off, which would be regen, it would tell me how much power I was putting back into the pack. So it's kind of a real-time meter of what's kind of going on. Right here above the odometer reading, it's an energy draw meter. It's saying that I'm drawing 1 amp right now because it's sitting, but things are on, so really not drawing anything. And again, that's a real time while you're driving. It would change and let you know what's going on. So that's pretty much my instrument cluster here, and of course we do have an airbag. Safety's first. Right down here next to the steering column, there's actually a little lever, and if I was to pull that, it would actually pop the hood, and then you'd be able to lift the hood. Also right in here, the button for the trunk, it's right up here. You can, I don't know if you can see it, but you can definitely feel it, and if I push that, it would pop the trunk. Right here is actually the knob to turn on the lights. Right now, straight up, they're off. I click it one time, that's parking. Click it one more time, the headlights are on. Right here, below this, is the dimmer switch, so that'll dim the interior. You can see it's going down, so if everything's too bright, you can dim it down so you can see a little bit better. And then this little button here that you see is actually only going to be on European cars. It would be for the rear fog lamps. US cars are not going to have this button, so you won't have to worry about that. So just a few simple things here. And that's pretty much it for the interior. So we'll be on to the next section, which will be the VDS screen like we showed earlier.